want you to understand, all of our listeners to understand, why they really truly can change their life. And there's energy healing is something that it, I often interpreted energy healing as the energy coming from someone to heal me. But really, the energy healing is the energy coming from you and healing yourself. And whether you are, you look at it from a spiritual perspective, that you believe well, whether you're a Christian or whether you're subscribe more to the chakra side of things, what I think almost every religion of any kind believes that we have a lot of power inside of each of us, and if we just tap into that power, we can be healed. But here's the thing, is that even modern medicine on the Western side, they understand that the will to live, the will to be healthy, the will to actually go out there and make a good life, even they cannot discount that there is some scientific value to that, and they haven't quantified it because it's hard to quantify, but it is absolutely there. And so I want to talk a little bit about that energy healing, and what they're finding out more and more is that Eastern medicinal science isn't just a way of looking at things. It's not what I very well, actually I'm not going to say it. I just know this. Before it happened to me, I didn't believe in holistic health. That's why I was 95 pounds overweight. I did not believe that anything besides just basic nutrition, and that must mean apples and a lot of bread. I had no idea what real nutrition meant at the time, but I didn't believe in the idea of holistic healing. That was all sideline stuff, and that when I had the flu, I would go in there and try to get some antibiotics, and that was about it. But if whichever of you feels more comfortable talking about energy healing, we've talked about acupressure just a little bit, and then the parasympathetic engagement, energy balancing, kind of the spiritual response therapy, and then how that all leads into life coaching. If you could do that real quick, and then we'll wrap up the segment. But I think I would be remiss if I didn't allow you to kind of get in that in, because it's a large part of what you do.
Yes, like what you say before, that we are energetic beings. So every cell in our body, it works actually individually, but together in the same time. So what we do is, we are able to address and be able to talk to the computer system, and be able to relate to what each organ is talking about.
Sure.
To really honor, because every organ has a feeling, and it will show in certain ways. So once we understand how it's showing up, then we know that, okay, this is a problem with the liver, the problem with the stomach, and we can address it directly and properly. And this is kind of fascinating to me, because it really demystified this ease.
Agreed.
Okay.
Absolutely
and
agreed.
So I just love what I do, because I see miracle after miracle when I work with people, when we work together, Indy and I, because we do honor the human being to be able to make more empowering choices in our lives, and so energy medicine is that we are, for what I believe, we are sound in vibration and color. So, and that's the soul. It's what I call light body radiance.
Yes.
And so, in what we specialize is to take the layers of traumas, perhaps past lives or these lifetimes, that from childhood traumas or relationship traumas, and we're able to take the blankets of overwhelm as we focus in the areas of that the body is ready to disclose, and be able to gently and lovingly lift them up. So the chi, as they say in Chinese medicine, the life force, the soul, will be able to start expanding, which it will be showing in a very healthy aura.
Absolutely. Well said. Go ahead.
And once you make changes, very often people aren't sure where to stand. The old ways don't work.
Sure.
But when you stop to think about it, a train doesn't run without energy.
Correct.
The circulation in the body, there's still an energetic force that has to flow through the body on many, many, many different levels. And that's where we work. And when we can help someone stand in their empowerment. And this is a process. When you hear people say all the time, oh, you just create your life. Well, there's a lot of people that don't know what that means. There are many changes that come into stepping, owning, and creating what you really choose to have. And we do this on many levels.
Agreed. And also, I wanted to retract to a certain degree. It just so happened that I lost weight during that whole process. It was a bonus that I lost weight. The real core of what happened to me during that time period is that I was able to get my organs talking to each other like they should, that I was able to get balance in my own life, I was able to find the peace and happiness, and then it just so happened that at the same time that I was finding those things that I actually lost the weight. So it's not a matter of weight gain or weight loss, it's a matter of of finding that peace and happiness about who you are, tapping into that, and then you'll actually find that one of the bonuses is that your weight will come off. So just, I wanted to kind of correct some of the things I was saying
and
earlier.
that's true, because sometimes people will hold weight. If they aren't feeling safe and secure in their body, they're going to gather energy and gather weight.
Right.
You start working on that, and you're a perfect example of how you shed that weight, you no longer need it, as you emerge into your own empowerment, I'll say, and enlightenment.
You bet. And there's a lot more science behind what we're saying, and I want you to stay tuned to this because we're actually going to bring both Rita and Andy back on the show later. They actually are opening up a new location. So they have one very solid location. They're going to be opening up a new one as well for those of you who, what's that?
That is our new location.
Oh, that is your new location.
Healing Dynamics International.
I'm sorry.
We are boosting off.
Okay, very good. So they actually have their location for you, but there's going to be a grand opening we'll talk about later. We'll bring them back on and kind of go into a little bit more detail. But I want to talk about, just to leave this thought for you, and then we'll wrap up, is that when we talk about the organs talking to each other, they don't have a voice that they talk to each other, or they do, but the voice is like this, okay? For example, when you have a liver, when you have too much sugar in your blood, your liver actually has chemical reactions in there that are telling it to either store because there's too much energy in your bloodstream, to store that into your fat cells, or to actually, if there's not enough blood sugar in there, to actually pull fat out of there. It's all chemical reactions. It's all scientifically diagnosable. Also, at the same time, there's the energy. You can actually track that energy. So we're not sounding quite as spiritualistic as it may sound over the air. It's all trackable in the chemical reactions. So your organs really do have a lot to do with your health, as well as, no doubt, how your brain is functioning and how you feel during the day.
And actually, they are starting to do things like healing touch in hospitals because they found a way to measure energy. James Oshman wrote a book, The Scientific Basis for Energy. So little by little, it's all coming out that just like you have a science in technology and you have science in medicine, you also have science in energy.
Absolutely. And I'm going to leave with this call to action that and this is completely embarrassing to me to admit on the air, but I actually have two knees that have problems. One is an old wrestling injury, and another one was a car wreck that happened. I was a passenger in a car accident. So I have two knees that make it very difficult for me to run. And I actually ignored something that was given to me, and this is what's embarrassing to me, is I ignored something that was given to me 20 years ago. It was a little band that I could put around my knee, and it had to do with energy, okay? It helped align the energy in my knee. And I had that thing in the back of my closet for 20 years, okay? I actually broke it out about 3 months ago, and I was able to go from running 2 miles to running how many ever I want, 4, 5, 6 miles. It doesn't matter how long I want to run now. It actually aligned that. I'm completely embarrassed that I didn't practice what I'm preaching over the air.
But you do now.
I do now, so I encourage you to take action like I did.
Support.
Sometimes just a couple of little things like that to align the energy in your body and your knees, you can get real results. And again, if any of you are out there are a little bit saying, oh, I don't know. I went through that for 20 years, so I am not a willing participant in the whole holistic scene. I've been dragged into it kicking and screaming. If I hadn't actually felt those experiences myself and actually had great results myself, then I wouldn't be able to get on the air and say that these things occurred, and I actually fought them tooth and nail as evidenced by this story. So make sure that you give a call to, what's the phone number?
It is 480-423-6967.
And the website again?
healingdynamicsinternational.com.
Wonderful. So again, thank you to Rita and also to Andy for coming on the show. We'll definitely bring you back on if our listeners are not waiting with bated breath. You should be. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the show, and
thank you for having us here.
you're so welcome. And I've actually waited a long time to come on the air, so I feel quite honored to have them on. So thanks again for coming. Again, this is Kurt Wilhelm, the host of the Social Universe here on Voice America and World Talk Radio. We thank you for tuning in. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how all of this can be processed in your life. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these messages.